coming off the plane, brief the handlers on what's coming down, and we all get to our spots to bring the plane in. I see the plane coming down the lane to my gate, and at the same time, my zone supervisor drives up to my gate and asks me to come over. He then tells me something along the lines of, "Hey man, we can't upgrade you to lead right now. We just can't swing that extra expense." I respond with, "Okay, so who's gonna bring the plane in? Nobody else on the gate's lead train, and supervisors aren't allowed to do any of our work because of the union rules." He then tells me he's going to go find another lead to bring it in, and just assist him when he arrives. So I'm like, sure, whatever. Now, it's important to note that planes have very tight metrics for how long it can take to bring a flight in, unload, and reload for the next flight. The flight pulls up to the edge of my gate and comes to a stop, as there's no lead. Plus, overtime for flight attendants forced into mandatory overtime from the situation. Not to mention all the passengers who were pissed off from the extra waits, who were comped some credits with the airline for the trouble. I also come to find out that the supervisor's bonus was based on flight turn time, and this 45-minute shortfall probably cost him his bonus and a write-up. So basically, the supervisor didn't want to pay me $10.50.
A mortal manages a
I'll get you next time again.
Lot of the bugs. Not your family. Zevo uses essential oils which attack bugs' biological systems. Gets rid of the bugs, plus is safe for use around people and pets. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Guys, welcome back to r/entitled people, where Karens steal from others and then complain that it's not enough. Guys, you know entitled people. If you've been tuning into these episodes, you know the stories are wild. So I hope you enjoy them today. Subscribe if you haven't, and hey, don't shake your heads too hard. I'm a 20-year-old female. I recently turned 20, and I had a party to celebrate turning 20. It was a small gathering at my favorite sushi restaurant with only my immediate family and a few friends. Everything was going well until it came time for presents. You see, in my family, there's a tradition that when the firstborn turns 20, they're given this pocket watch that was owned by my great-grandfather. When our country was still colonized by the British, my great-grandfather was taken in by some missionaries, and he became a teacher. As a teacher, he was super instrumental to the community and partly funded the first black-owned school there. He then became headmaster, and as a thanks, the community chipped in to get him a pocket watch. When my grandfather turned 20, he was given the watch, and it became a tradition. As per tradition, I was expecting to get a watch. I even made an effort to dictate how I wanted a watch for the whole year prior. Among the presents, I saw this small box and got excited thinking it was the watch. The watch came in this wooden casing, with a velvet lining inside, and it was about the same size as the box I saw. I made a deliberate choice to open that box last, to make sure the night ended on a highlight. When it came time to open the box, it was a watch, but it was a digital one. Now, it was a good watch to be honest, but it wasn't the watch. My dad was really excited, as he went on prattling about the features of the watch, how it could count steps, connect to my phone via Bluetooth, control music, measure my heart rate, etc., etc. While he was talking, I burst into tears, and then left the table running. My dad follows and asked why I was sad, and I said I wanted the watch, the one that belonged to great-grandfather. He said he wanted to give it to my younger brother, who's 12, since he's a boy. If he gives it to me, it will leave the family, since I'll get married to a man and join his family. Now, this came as a blow, since I've always been closer to my dad than my brother, and my brother isn't even interested in watches. We then got into an argument, and it ends with him saying that my immaturity over such a small matter is why he wouldn't have given me the watch, even if I was a boy. I left after he said that. That was 2 weeks ago, and we haven't spoken since. So am I the a-hole? Okay, so a lot of people have mixed emotions about this post. Some people say that she's in fact the a-hole for feeling so entitled, expecting that she should have gotten her grandfather's watch. Others are saying that she has every right to be upset, as the father's choosing not to give her the watch since she's not a boy. Guys, I don't blame OP for being upset at all. Her dad's literally telling her that she won't be family after she marries, so that's why he'd rather give the watch to his son, so it can continue to be passed down in the family. Guys, I'm not a fan of dad's behavior at all. Her tip jar, and she takes out all the bills and coins and starts counting them. Now, I was watching her, just speechless. Since we had just opened not too long before she came in, our tip jar didn't contain much. It was
a mortal.
That's just what you get my point.
Mind you, I'm not even invited to the party. Whatever. The night before the party, I tell her that she only
Me.
I don't brag. In exchange for your laptop. I don't have to get it, you know. You know what? You need to bring $20 because this is ridiculous. At this point, I'm pissed. I'm trying to be nice, making a cake for her son's birthday, and here she is, totally being a bitch. So I walk away from the cake and text back, look, you haven't even got the stupid laptop. It's been months. I'm gonna get it myself. So forget about it. I'll bring the cake by 11. Sorry. Let me finish with the cake. I'm not done decorating. She's already got it, so I can't go get it myself. Now, this is a lie. I got it a week later from the friend. She then says if I don't give her the money, she'll just sell my laptop. At that point, I'm done. So I just respond with a, okay, whatever, I'm not making the cake. You just had me waste $15 to $20 on supplies, stole my laptop, and destroyed a friendship over $10. Have a good day, and tell your son I said happy birthday. After this, she sent many texts flipping out that I can't believe and ending it with, don't text me again. My husband got home around 1 p.m. to a cake frosted cream, with the words that said, stupid people get no cake, on the table, and me sitting in bed just stewing over the conversation. He walked into our bedroom with a huge grin on his face, and asked what happened, because I'm typically a super giving person to friends, so something good had gone down for me to refuse to finish the cake. The woman never got anything, and we still don't speak. If she hadn't flipped out, she would have gotten the money and cake, no problem. Now, I'm not usually a jerk, but seriously, she pushed me too far. Good on Opie for not giving her that cake. Her response was totally appropriate. Guys, I would have taken it a step further and been super petty, and wrote happy birthday to me, with a smiley face on it, and sent her a picture of that. So with that said, I think the woman's son got some sort of a birthday gift. Mom didn't totally ruin his first birthday, and I wondered why the heck she needed that $10 so badly. Okay, when I moved in with my now husband, I decided to sell my air mattress. Since we now had a guest bedroom with a real bed, I posted on Craigslist that I had an air mattress for a year or two, only used it twice, and bought it for $175, so I listed it for $50. I also put in the listing that I've never... For the story, let's do the setting first. I work at a fast food restaurant, and I've seen my fair share of choosing beggars, entitled people, etc., and often they're not too bad. They just want something extra. Or something you don't have anymore, and they get mad about it. Like I said, it's not too bad for what I've experienced so far, but this one guy really takes the cake. So we offer coffee at a reduced price for people over 65 years. It's just a little something extra that we like to do for seniors. So this guy, let's call him John Doe, comes in one day, and he was standing behind one of these seniors, and he heard that he only paid the reduced price. John Doe was surprised when he needed to pay the full price. Now, mind you, John Doe is nowhere near 65 years old. I explained to him why this was and how it works. He then goes off about how ridiculous it was that he had to pay full price because he was a hardworking citizen, and these elderly people do nothing else than just sit around the entire day barely contributing to society. Meanwhile, the senior was still standing there, while John Doe went on with this angry speech, with some colorful language thrown in there. It was almost embarrassing. Then he threatened to come back with a lawyer and said he would sue us, saying, I'm sure I'll win this because this is discrimination. But off he went with his coffee and his newspaper. It took a while, but eventually he did come back. Of course, without a lawyer. But again, he went on this rant how unfair it was that he had to pay full price. John Doe explained how he went to another restaurant, which also belonged to the same franchise as mine, and he got his coffee there for the reduced price. I once again explained to him that I can't do that because those are simply the rules that I have to follow. He then told me he knew the supervisor at our restaurant. and my supervisor promised him that he would always get his coffee at the senior rate. John Doe says next time he would talk to my supervisor, and my supervisor would put me in my place. Now, I'm not an idiot, so after this happened and upper management came in that day, I went to them and explained the situation. They said, no, he has to pay full price. He's not 65 years old. Now, luck would have it that my supervisor came in that same day, and I told him about John Doe. The supervisor said, I don't give coffee at a reduced price to non-seniors, and even if I did, it would be a one-time deal. A few months went by without ever seeing John Doe. Then the other restaurant closes down because they were rebuilding the place. So John Doe shows his face again at our place yesterday. Before even trying to order a coffee, he tried to recruit a senior who was minding his own business reading a newspaper to buy him a coffee so he would get it at a reduced price. The senior said he would, and the senior ordered himself a coffee and then an extra coffee. Now, I had noticed this, and I let the senior have his coffee at the reduced price, but the other coffee at full price. So John Doe begrudgingly gave the senior extra cash so he could cover the entire cost. Afterwards, when John Doe left, I went to the senior and I explained the situation, how John Doe's been acting towards us. The senior already had a feeling that something was going on because he's a regular customer and he knows me normally as a friendly type. Today, John Doe shows up again, and once again, he tried to recruit the same senior to buy him a coffee. The senior explained to him that he wouldn't do it and told him why. So John Doe was mad and demanded to speak to me. So when I showed up at the front, he once again goes on a rant, how he knows the supervisor and he always got his coffee at a reduced price at the other place, and how ridiculous this is. Now that the other place is temporarily closed, that he has to pay full price in our restaurant. I told him I spoke to my upper management and my supervisor, and they both told me he has to pay full price. He literally explodes saying, "You're calling me a liar? I will now go to the other place and I will tell them what happened here. And when I come back, you better watch yourself." Now, by this time, I was just done with him, especially because the other place is still closed for another week, so tomorrow he's going to be here again. So I once again told my upper management what happened and how the guy's been acting. They were firm and said, this guy has to pay full price, and if he doesn't like it and goes off again, you can kick him out. Meanwhile, they begin to contact the supervisors at the other restaurant, and then the big twist comes. So it turns out the other restaurant does get his coffee at a reduced price. However, the current upper management there doesn't know how or why it's done, because it happened before they were there. So when I heard this, I felt my stomach grow. I knew he'd be back tomorrow to yell at me again, and that they're going to tell me that I need to give it to him at a reduced price. But no, I had that wrong. My supervisors told us that he would not get his coffee at the reduced price. Furthermore, the other restaurant's now going to have to refuse to give it to him at that reduced price. My upper management will be in before opening tomorrow to handle the job, if he turns up. So I wonder how that will end. Now, if he had just accepted the full price without going on, he might still have his coffee at a reduced price at the other place. Now he has to pay full price everywhere. The entitlement of this guy is astounding. Like, how can you not comprehend that it's a senior discount? And was it really worth all that trouble he went through to save what? Like 50 cents on coffee? Like, how much is a senior discount actually saving? He's willing to go through all that trouble.
That place always comes. That's why everyone chooses our creamy, crispy, crunchy tacos, and not your DIY desserts. Godiva is the life of the party chocolate. Godiva is chocolate.
I'm a paramedic in a place that has some HOAs and apartment complexes. Now, we hate responding to apartment complexes because there is nothing but assigned parking and no fire zones. Basically, if we can't find a space to fit in, we have to block the road. My agency also uses first responder vehicles and ambulances. The first responder, as implied, usually arrives first, so we do our best to leave room for the ambulance to fit in. Well, last week, we get a call at the apartment complex, and I'm the first responder. As I pull up to the address, by some miracle, there was a spot only 2 apartments away. Great, I can leave the road clear for the ambulance. Now, as soon as I park, out comes this guy screaming that I can't park there. So I do the, "Are you serious?" look, and say it's a medical emergency. The guy says he doesn't care. I can't park there. Keep in mind, my vehicle has enough lights to make a Christmas tree jealous. I just grab my stuff, lock the vehicle, and keep going. The whole time, the guy's screaming that he's gonna call the cops. I tell him the cops are already on the way, as they respond to medical emergencies. The cop gets there while I'm with the patient and tells him to basically pound salt. The cop enters the apartment, and then the guy really goes full-blown entitled. He enters the apartment, comes into the room where I'm treating the patient, and he starts ranting and raving how I have to move my vehicle. I then look at the cop and say, "Get him out of here." The cop then seals his fate. She asks the patient if she wants this person removed from the apartment, and did she ever give consent for him to enter. The patient's response is, "Get him the F out. He's trespassing." The cop gives him one last chance and tells him to leave or he's going to be arrested. Now the guy doubles down and says, "I'm on HOA board. I can go anywhere I please." At this point, backup's called. The cop manhandles him out of the room. The ambulance arrives with police backup, and they get him out of the apartment so we can safely remove the patient. Now, I'm not entirely sure what happened next, as I was in the back of the ambulance. But when I got back out, one of the officers approaches and says, "Sorry, but we need another bus. We had to tase him." Now, the policy for the police department is if they tase someone, they have to be transported to the hospital by ambulance, as taser spikes have to be surgically removed due to the barbs on them. I found out a few weeks later that he was charged with trespassing, assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, and interference with government administration, also known as interfering with the scene of an emergency, all over a parking space that I would have been in and out of in 20 minutes if he hadn't created problems. I can only assume he took a plea deal, as I was never called to testify. Some people, right? Guys, I've read so many stories about people yelling at paramedics and firemen trying to do their job. Like, yes, sometimes these vehicles might be blocking the road for a little bit. But do these people not comprehend that paramedics are responding to an emergency and trying to save lives? Now, guys, I'm not surprised that it was an HOA board member, though. Those people go in mega power trips. They don't care who it is. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /entitled people. Guys, I hope you enjoyed these super entitled stories today. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you missed that last episode on the channel, I'll link it right here. The tourist Karen fakes his tantrum because she didn't get served first. It's such a crazy story, so check it out if you haven't. Myself, yeah. See you guys in the next time. We love you.
Oh! What? There must be something wrong. There's no way I'm a dwarf.
You guys look a lot alike.
You look like Charlie. Who decided Wendy's summer strawberry salad is back? Crispy bacon.
No way! That's my favorite character! Hey, babe! What's her character? So totally. My salad is back. A lichen.
Hello, my wonderful, beautiful,
What the hell?
/entitled people. Where people seem to think they can trespass onto private property and act as if they did no wrong. Guys, it's gonna be another wild episode, so I hope you enjoy the stories and hit that subscribe button for future tales. Okay, so I'm a police officer, and in the story, I pull over a sheriff's 18-year-old daughter. So on this day, I pull her over at 2 a.m. for running a complaint. From my initial contact, based upon her language, attitude, and the odor of alcohol, I determined she was inebriated. I removed her to the rear of the vehicle. The entire time, she's screaming that she's the sheriff's daughter, that she's untouchable. Now, I knew that. The first step I conduct in my field sobriety test is the HGN, horizontal gauge nystagmus. This is where I wave the pen in front of my eyes to track the movements of my pen. Now, doing this required me to place my body in close proximity to her, and on this night, that was my mistake. She sucker punches me in the face and breaks my nose. Now, it's hard to believe that a 120-pound female could pack a punch like she did. She knocked me to the ground. I then hit my dispatch panic button, and the world responded. The next I knew, she's cuffed and stuffed, and the paramedics are wanting to transport me. We finally all arrived at the jail, and my supervisors interviewed me again. They were more concerned about my health than anything, and I kept asking for a status on the prisoner, and their only response was, "Who gives a crap? Let's get you taken care of." Then the sheriff arrived. He spoke with my supervisors, both of them, the lieutenant and the sergeant. He then spoke with my fellow deputies, who also responded. Then he spoke with his daughter, confined in a holding cell. He then approaches me and asks how I was. Now, he was really concerned about my health and the state of damage to my ear. We talked for several minutes. He apologized profusely for his daughter's behavior. I kept telling him it wasn't his fault. And then he said, and I'll never forget this, "This is a direct order. You will charge her with underage consumption, operating while intoxicated, assault on an officer causing injury, and resisting arrest." He said, Imagine how entitled and how untouchable she must have felt knowing that her
A
dad.
mortal manages a magic school like this. Choose a map of School of the Stars. Oh, Shadow Isles is too terrifying. Magic Forest is safer. Let's open up basic theory classroom first. Teaching a brief history of wizards is a piece of cake. Wow, the students came too soon. I need more butlers. Huh? Students want to learn practical classes? Good heavens, I don't know anything about magic. What? A large number of complaints? My school was immediately closed.
Split it evenly, and then tell everybody how much they owed. She would often throw her share down without a tip and leave, sticking friends who ordered one soup at a
Awesome.
time.
Finally, a werewolf with a rare trait. I can combo this with another trait and get a much more powerful champ. Let's see what the succubus got. Just a normal trait. Oh, how about our orc Shammy, Zegra? Why does a shaman have a trait that's good for melee DPS? That's so garbage. What is left here? Oh, Shard. Yes, this is gonna be so up. Aw man, that match has a super low success rate. Should I risk it? Okay, let's do it.
Never fear, I helped her. I told her no, it's no mistake. I'm not paying for red wine that I didn't drink, or shellfish that my boyfriend can't eat because he's allergic. She then gets really mad. Now, it's not even about the money. It's about the entitlement and seeing her take advantage of less well-off friends. That was so uncool. In fact, she was probably the most broke of all of us at the time, and she just used it as a chance to get an expensive meal subsidized by her friends. She still didn't leave enough money for the tip, but it was worth it to see her argue. Her looked at our friends as backup, and realizing that several people took my side of the debt, and man was she pissed. I've avoided her like a plague ever since. That cheap alcoholic can do that crap to someone else, but not me. My friends even warn me when they have social gatherings, saying that she'll be there. And that's all I need to decide to order a pizza and watch Netflix instead. No clue why they still hang out with her, but that's their problem, not mine. That friend needs to be booted from that group. After the third or fourth time, I can't believe they let her get away with that for 3 or 4 times. Now, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt and assuming that she changed after that one night, because if Opie's friends continue to let her leech off them, that's definitely on them. Okay, so some context here. 5 years ago, when I was in my last year of university, my parents divorced. And for many reasons, which included my father being psychologically abusive, I decided to side with my mom and live with her. My dad wasn't too happy with that, so he decided to ask her for half the worth of our home, and my mom was forced to pay him out, even though my mother bought it completely on her own. To not lose our home, I got 3 part-time jobs in the spare time while I was studying, so we could finally pay him his share, and he left after destroying many things in our home. My dad just stopped talking to me one day, got a new partner, and just left, telling me that his stepsons were the kids he always wanted, instead of a geeky nerd. Because, yes, I'm an IT expert. So once I graduated, I got a scholarship for an MBA in Italy, which only covered the basics plus tuition. So my mom helped me with IT. I then bought a car, a new apartment for us, and we've had a great life in general. Suddenly, Dad sends me a friend request through Facebook, which I ignored and blocked his account. He somehow then managed to get my phone number after I changed it. He then starts calling me, telling me that he and his wife need help financially, that they're starving, and their stepsons can't find a job. Basically hinting at me to give him money. I just told him I'm sorry, but I won't do that. Dad has also found out where I live, and has since then started going to my apartment, telling me that I owe him this and that, and I have to be a better person, that he always loved me, and I'm the one who turned my back on him. Everybody on his side of the family starts calling me as well, telling me that I should help out my dad. I again told them to F off, and it's none of their business. Now the worst part is, they went to my previous house, which my mother still owns, and broke windows, telling me that that's just the beginning of it, if I don't hand him the money he wants. I just went to the police and got a restraining order. Some of my friends told me that I should forgive him and try to help him out, as he's still my father. By this time, I'm feeling guilty, knowing that he's possibly starving. Yet he got a new family, and now he wants me to pay for them too. I don't really know what to do here, but I think I can forgive him right now. Now listen, Opie doesn't have to forgive him. He definitely doesn't owe him a dime. Now, it's funny how family members will abandon you and then come out of the woodwork when they want something. Guys, I've read so many stories like this, and if you've been on my channel, you've heard so many stories like this. And my opinion has never changed. Opie needs to block him from his life, block everybody that's harassing him from his life, and don't give that dad a single penny because he's a friggin' leech. Like, you don't get to abandon your family and then come back years later asking for financial help. That's not how it works. At the house, but after talking with the previous owner, he offered to sell us a small farm and animals there. The guy's older, and he can't really care for that. We're still in the process of getting all the papers in order, but my partner has already started taking care of the farm. Our daughter Lily is in absolute heaven. There's 2 new dogs that she just adores, and her favorite animal is a big draft horse that's the most gentle thing we've ever seen. I'm gonna keep working from home, and my partner's gonna be retiring way too early to be a stay-at-home dad and take care of the farm. Now that's for background. The real start is coming. Not even an hour ago, we had a lovely specimen of the entitled genus basically jump the farm's fence with 7 Kid Scouts in uniform. Not sure what troop. My fiance noticed them and asked what they were doing, and that the farm is private property. The woman's response was just priceless. She says, "We saw the little ducks and chicken, and we want to pet them. It's clearly a petting zoo since they're here." She then pointed at Lily and I while we were brushing the horse. We tried to explain that we're the owners, and that she was trespassing. Cue the biggest adult tantrum that I have ever heard. She demanded that we let her in for free and give the kids free rides on the pony. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Draft horses are giants, and while they're gentle and can technically be ridden, a fall could cause serious injury, especially on like 10-year-old kids. My partner was amazing at dealing with her and simply said that she has to leave or else we'll call the police. Now hearing this, the woman kept shrieking that she's gonna get him fired and that she's gonna post a terrible review. A few curse words even added for dramatic effect. We were seriously about to call the police when they actually got very lucky. The old owner was bringing us some vet papers that we need to sign for the animals, and he saw the whole drama. He tore
Awesome. Finally, a werewolf with a rare trait. I can combo this with another trait and get a much more powerful champ. Let's see what the succubus got. A. Just a normal trait. Oh, how about our orc Shammy, Zegra? Why does a shaman have a trait that's good for melee DPS? That's so garbage. You, what is left here? Oh, Shard. Yes, Lily's is gonna be so off. Aw man, that match has a super low success rate. Should I risk it? Okay, let's do it.
We're gonna be hopping this fence to go to a petting zoo. So, some backstory. I was flying by myself for the first time. I was going to Florida to visit some family, and the flight was to be about 3-ish hours. Everything starts fine. I board the plane, find my middle seat in a row of 3, and sit down. Now, I have chronic migraines. I've had them since age 10, and one thing that makes it worse is pressure changes. At this time, I was recently put on new medication for pain and nausea, since they still can't figure out how to handle my migraines. I've also been getting injections to my head and spine for years, as well as constantly trying new medications, and my migraines just won't be controlled. So here I am, sitting in my middle seat, and I reach into my carry-on and pull out my cute little pill container. Now, I don't like to carry prescription bottles on me for privacy. I just want to take my pain and nausea medication before I take off, so they can take it as we take off. My new medications look a little sketchy. The pain pill is bright blue, and the nausea pill is a bright purple capsule. I've taken them in public before and never had a problem. But that day, a Karen made it a problem. I had gotten a Diet Coke from my bag, and I'm getting ready to take my meds when she starts groaning and sighing. I think nothing of it. I ignore it and take my medication. Now, I have anxiety in general, but I get anxious about my migraines. I throw up from the pain a lot, and I was anxious about being in the middle seat and having to throw up mid-flight. Well, we take off, and 10 minutes into being in the air, I start feeling nauseous, and decide to make my way to the bathroom as the seatbelt light had just turned off. Karen is actively avoiding eye contact, so I gently tap her shoulder, and this follows. I say to her, "Excuse me, can you please get up? I have to use the bathroom." She says, "Didn't you go before we left?" Now at that I respond, I'm sorry. Did you not use the bathroom before we left?" I tell her I'm sorry, but I really need to go to the bathroom. Karen still isn't listening to me, and she says, "Why didn't you go before we left?" At this point, a flight attendant's passing by, and asked her to please let me use the bathroom. So I go, throw up, rinse out my mouth, feel like absolute crap, and then go back to my seat. Now, I threw out my meds before they were fully in my system, so I went back to my seat and made a decision to take another of each pill. My doctor said it's fine for me to take my medications like that. So I get one of each pill, and I'm getting my drink out, and I'm about to take them. Now, with the anxiety and pain I was feeling, my legs were shaking a bit, and I was trying my best not to bump into the passengers on either side. My leg accidentally bumps Karen, and I mumble a quick sorry and take my meds. Now, she's had it with me, and she turns to face me and says, "What's wrong with you?" And then I respond, "Excuse me?" Karen then says, "You are so addicted to these drugs that you have to take them on a plane. Besides me," I tell her, "These are prescription," she says. "If they're prescription, why are they not in a proper bottle?" Now, my leg is still bouncing, and I bump into her again by accident, and she screams, "Oh my god, you should be allowed to fly if you're on drugs. You can't even handle yourself. You're shaking from withdrawal." Now I decide to ignore her. I put my headphones in and go about my business. A few hours pass, and I feel nauseous again. I lightly tap the woman's shoulder again, saying, "Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom." She says, "Why? Because you don't know how to go before you leave? Or are you going to do more drugs?" I tell her, "I need to use the bathroom. You either let me use the bathroom now, or I can vomit right into your face. Either way, I'm going to throw up soon, so what's it going to be?" The woman lets me go, and I take care of myself, and I come back to the Karen telling the flight attendant about the demon sitting right next to her. The flight attendant approaches me and says, "Excuse me, miss, were you abusing any substances on this flight?" I tell her, "No, I was just taking my medication." Now the Karen's screaming, "Liar! This addict is taking drugs in front of families and children." I then tell the flight attendant that I can show her my meds if she wants me to. I then reach into my bag and pull out my pill container. I open the container to show an array of medication, telling her that I was taking these two for my migraines and nausea. The flight attendant then looks to the woman and says, "There's nothing illegal going on here." She screams, "Are you kidding? She's using drugs, and you say that's illegal? I demand a new seat." The flight attendant at this point tells her that the flight is full, and there are no other seats. The woman screams, "She's using drugs and hitting me, and you won't get me a new seat." The attendant then tells her, "I'm afraid I can't offer you a new seat, and I hope you won't cause any further issues to the passengers. If you do keep causing problems, we're going to have an issue here." So after that, the woman shut up, and we sat through the rest of the flight with no interaction. The nice lady on my other side, about a 70-year-old woman, talked to me about her granddaughter and how she's got migraines as well, and how it's horrible to deal with. The flight attendant did offer me a free alcoholic beverage while that woman was in the bathroom, but I couldn't accept, since I was underage and on some medication. So we landed, and the woman pushes her way off the plane as fast as she could to get away from my demon self. And me, I just went to my aunt's truck and had a great story to tell of the crazy lady on my plane. Crazy is definitely right. And what a nightmare person to set this up. Like, to call a flight attendant and accuse of you of taking illegal drugs on a flight is next level. And I'm actually wondering if you purposely did cause a scene to try to get a seat upgrade. Guys, I've read enough stories to think that might have been her master plan.
Home improvement doesn't have to be a puzzle. That's why you can use Anderson Woodwork Series windows. The Clapwood windows contractors trust the most. The choice is simple. It's Anderson Woodwork Series. Windows contractors trust the most.
The day has finally come where I have a story to post. Today, I went to the local department store and picked up a few things, including some leeks and some bread that had been marked down with a sales sticker. When I get to the check stand, a young man in the second register to help me. So I put the items on the belt and he started
No
to read.
luggage.
The story is
The
extremely
luggage
fascinating.
come in here. I put the luggage
It
in
obviously takes
the
longer, but whatever. It's not his fault and he's doing his best. It's also Saturday, so
Okay,
I'm not
you
in
get
any hurry or rush.
you get a
At
bit.
some point,
You
either
want me?
rest or
I'm
walk
about
up
to
or
get
he
a
gets nervous as he rings up my leash 4 times. I think he was new, so he calls for a manager or someone to help void the extra 3 items and continues scanning while we wait. At this point, some lady's gotten super close to me in line, and I can hear her huffing and puffing behind me. Obviously, she's in a hurry.
Translating my cat's meows. Brought to you by the Wildest.
And for whatever reason, the sticker wouldn't scan. He then tried to key it in, and the
Well, you
register
give
doesn't
a bad
let
penis to walk in
I
the
win. It's fucking already 2?
Yeah.
So on the day where I want to get off my phone and I need to watch something on TV, I fucking can't.
I didn't say you're gonna like.
To go to bed.
I said get ready for bed. I didn't say you couldn't get off your phone and lay down and watch TV and go to sleep, did I?
No.
I just said get
Oh,
ready.
what's in here? Doritos.
This is taking forever, and I'm in a hurry. No,
That doesn't make
you
sense.
had an answer. I turned around to
This is what
see
makes
the
me mad.
piece of
Sorry.
bitch face. And I said, no.
You keep eating. And then you ain't got time to do shit.
Back to the cashier. The lady
Because when I turn it off about 2:15, 2:30,
I
you
then
ain't
turned
get back
around
in.
to face her again and said,
2:15?
I don't care, lady. These gentlemen
You know
are
your dad
only
wants you
helping
asleep
me
before
right
he
now.
gets home.
You need to wait your turn like everybody else. You're not the only person.
I don't know
in the
why
store
you argue
who's
about this every night when you know
extra
this.
you can go to. At this point, I can see people kind of
That your
peeking
father
around
expects
the
you to
other
be in
chest
bed
because
before
I
he